The clock ticked past midnight, signaling the start of something insane. 48 hours, no sleep. The challenge was set, and there was no turning back now. This was my self-imposed test, pushing my limits further than ever before. It was a journey into the unknown, a test of endurance and mental fortitude. This wasn't about proving anything to anyone else. It was about staring down my own weaknesses, crushing them under the weight of sheer willpower. First up, preparation. Every detail had to be perfect. I laid out my gear meticulously, a map of the local wilderness, marking every possible route and obstacle, a first aid kit for inevitable scrapes and bruises, and enough water and energy bars to fuel a small army. Every item had a purpose, every piece of gear a lifeline. My stomach churned with a mixture of nerves and excitement. This wasn't a drill. The anticipation was electric. This was the real deal, the moment of truth. With a deep breath and a steely gaze at the door, I steeled myself for what lay ahead. I knew there was no turning back. Each step forward was a commitment to the challenge. The next 48 hours would be a blur of adrenaline, fatigue, and the raw, untamed beauty of nature. Every moment would test my resolve. This wasn't just about survival. It was about truly living, embracing the wild and finding strength in the struggle. Dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. My first challenge awaited, a heart-stopping zipline across a gaping canyon. The wind whipped through my hair as I soared through the air, the ground a dizzying drop below. Fear turned to exhilaration. I was alive! Next, a towering rock face, its jagged edges daring me to climb. Muscles screaming, I pulled myself up inch by inch. The world stretched out beneath me, a breathtaking panorama of forests and valleys. Reaching the summit, I felt a surge of triumph. I was unstoppable. But the wilderness never sleeps. The afternoon sun beat down relentlessly as I navigated dense undergrowth, my energy reserves dwindling. Hunger gnawed at my stomach, a constant reminder of the physical demands of this challenge. Yet I pushed on, driven by an unseen force. Emerging from the wilderness, I craved human interaction, a distraction from the creeping exhaustion. I decided to inject some humor into my challenge, approaching strangers with the most ridiculous questions I could muster. "Excuse me, have you seen a penguin around here? It owes me money." The reactions were priceless. Confused stares, nervous giggles, even a few genuine attempts to help me locate my imaginary avian debtor. Their amusement was infectious, a much-needed boost of energy that kept me going. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city streets, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Laughter, it seemed, was a potent weapon against fatigue. Section 4, Night Survival, Senses on High Alert. Nightfall brought a new set of challenges, ones that tested both my physical and mental limits. The familiar world transformed into a place of shadows and whispers, where every sound seemed amplified and every movement felt like a potential threat. My senses sharpened, every rustle of leaves, every snapping twig sending a jolt of adrenaline through me. It was as if the forest itself was alive, watching and waiting. I built a makeshift shelter, a flimsy barrier against the elements and the unknown. The hours crawled by, each minute feeling like an eternity. Hunger pangs gnawed at my stomach, but fear was a more potent hunger. It consumed my thoughts, making it hard to focus on anything else. I told myself it was the howling wind that sent shivers down my spine, not the imagined creatures lurking just beyond the firelight. The night seemed endless. The night was long, a test of mental fortitude as much as physical endurance. Every second was a battle against the urge to give in to fear. Yet as the first hint of dawn painted the sky, I felt a surge of pride. The light brought with it a sense of relief and accomplishment. I had stared into the abyss of darkness and emerged unbroken. The experience had tested me, but it also strengthened my resolve and my spirit. Section 5, the final push, mind over matter. This is where the true test begins, where every ounce of strength and determination is put to the ultimate trial. The final hours of the challenge were upon me. The night was dark and the air was cold, but the fire within me burned brighter than ever. My body screamed for rest, but my mind knew the finish line was in sight. Every muscle ached, every breath was a struggle, yet I pressed on. The last hurdle, a grueling obstacle course designed to test the limits of human endurance. Walls to climb, each one steeper than the last, mud pits to crawl through, thick and relentless, sapping the energy from my limbs, ice-cold water to swim across. Each obstacle pushed me to the brink. The cold bit into my skin, but I kept moving. My vision blurred, my limbs ached, but I refused to give in. The thought of giving up never crossed my mind. The pain was temporary, but the satisfaction of conquering this challenge would last a lifetime. The sense of achievement was worth every moment of agony, and then it was over. The finish line was behind me and I had made it. I stumbled across the finish line, a wave of exhaustion washing over me. My legs gave out and I collapsed to the ground, but I had done it. But it was a good kind of exhaustion, the kind that comes from pushing yourself beyond what you thought possible, the kind that leaves you with a deep sense of fulfillment. I had conquered not only the physical challenges, but also the demons of doubt that lurked within my own mind. The mental battle was just as tough, if not tougher. This experience taught me that our limits are often self-imposed. We set boundaries for ourselves that are meant to be broken. We are capable of far more than we give ourselves credit for. The human spirit is resilient and powerful. So the next time you think you've reached your breaking point, remember this: you have more strength within you than you realize. Dig deep, find that inner strength, and push beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone. Embrace